Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing Wednesday, the Circle of 12. I'm Lee Carroll.
And I'm Monica Morani.
Happy October 4. I can't believe it's October already. I love the decorations. Monica, I know you,
Well,
I know you do them all.
In the US, it's all about pumpkins, right?
It is.
In October,
Yep.
Pumpkin Month.
It's Pumpkin Month. Every month, we offer this 90-minute program for free on the first Wednesday of the month. Now, our Healing Wednesday subscribers, now they receive a 90-minute program just like this one every Wednesday of the year. Every Wednesday, each one. These programs feature great special guests, questions and answers, discussions, meditations, channeling, and some weird stuff. Oh, what could that be? Take a look. There's something brand new that has arrived for our Healing Wednesday membership, and we hope that all you members, that you didn't miss it.
So it's a special new program for our Healing Wednesday members called The Green Mist. And it was actually premiered on October 1st, which was 3 days ago. And if you have no idea what I am referring to, I would love to tell you a little bit about what the Green Mist is all about. It's a brand new 40-minute program. As we mentioned, it's just for Healing Wednesday members, but it's where you participate in a guided meditation from Lee and I. It's a journey where you meet 7 profound healers within very special, powerful healing energies. These new and original Green Mist programs, they're presented on the first Sunday morning of every month, and members can see the replays in their portals.
The creation of these new programs is our way of thanking our membership, some of whom have been with us for a full 3 years. Wow. If you're not a member and you'd like to know more, come join us at the Circle of 12. You'll find us at CryingMasters.com.
So some months ago, we began our evenings together with an affirmation. It is a great way to set the energy. Every month, we have a new affirmation to share, which we repeat for the entire month. Tonight, I would like to share 2 affirmations that are included in our new Manifesting Your Mastery online course. I couldn't choose just one, so I decided why not put 2 of them together for tonight. And if you like affirmations as much as I do, well, I think you will love the course that Lee and I created together. It has over 100 affirmations. We give insights about how to create affirmations and loads more information to help you manifest your mastery. So feel free to take a look at what we're offering, and all the affirmations are inspired by Cryon. So again, you can find out more at cryonmasters.com. But I'd like to begin now with the affirmation and claim it as your own. You're going to see the words on the screen to make it easier for you to participate. Here we go. I possess the sword of truth, the shield of knowledge, and the armor of wisdom. I carry the mantle of God and use my gifts and tools for the highest good of all. I am wise beyond my years and see the blessing in everything. The life puzzles I solve are the catalysts for planetary change and increase the vibration of the planet. My very existence is sacred and blessed.
I possess the sword of truth, the shield of knowledge, and the armor of wisdom. I carry the mantle of God and use my gifts and tools for the highest good of all. I am wise beyond my years, and I see the blessing in everything. The life puzzles I solve are the catalysts for planetary change and increase the vibration of the planet. My very existence is sacred and blessed.
I possess the sword of truth, the shield of knowledge, and the armor of wisdom. I carry the mantle of God and use my gifts and tools for the highest good of all. I am wise beyond my years and see the blessing in everything. The life puzzles I solve are the catalysts for planetary change and increase the vibration of the planet. My very existence is sacred and blessed.
Thank you, Monica. I really continue to enjoy this way of starting our program. And again, we want to let our subscribers know that we're going to use this same set of affirmations for the next 3 weeks.
So what we'd like to do now is move to the question and answer part of the program. And this question comes from Andrea. Andrea is in Florida in the US. As a former geologist, I am well aware that the magnetic poles have switched many times throughout the geologic history. If it switches now, I am sure it will have devastating effects on the life on Earth. Do you see that happening any time soon? Well, I would actually like to give the answer to that question because I asked a very similar question to Kryon back when I wrote my first book called The Gaia Effect. Here is the question that I asked to Kryon. Dear Kryon, what can you tell us about the magnetic field reversal cycle and why the poles reverse? So here is the answer from Kryon. Geomagnetic reversals are common and occur every 500,000 to 1 million years to Gaia. They are slow and sometimes take thousands of years to actually do the reversal process. The cause of this is not a mystery. The magnetic poles of the planet are generated by the molten core within the planet turning at a different speed from that of the outer core of the planet. This generates the electric or magnetic field of Earth. It is like an electric engine that then creates a giant field. But the molten core is volatile and it is prone to anomalies and distress, such as constantly interfacing with the sun's magnetic field and the rotation of the Earth. The result is an occasional magnetic chaos and a flip of polarity. North becomes south, south becomes north, and so on. You are thousands of years away from another full flip, the last one being almost 750,000 years ago. But the process has begun, and science is seeing it. This very process is why I, Kryon, arrived. For the beginning of the flip helps to recalibrate consciousness. All of this is controlled by Gaia. So it is right on schedule and is in cooperation with the 26,000-year wobble of the Earth. By the way, nothing physical happens to the planet when the magnetic poles reverse. It is the electric polarity that changes. Some have misunderstood this and believe that somehow the actual globe turns upside down. This, of course, would terminate all humanity and is not the way of spirit. So thank you, Kryon, for that wonderful answer. And Lee, I can tell you have something else you want to add.
I always do, especially when you talk about these things. I wanted to comment and reinforce something for those who may not have heard this before. Very common what Kryon has been saying, but not everybody has heard it. The recalibration of consciousness is the entire reason for Kryon to be here, and that's what we are experiencing right now on the planet. And indeed, science now has seen a very striking correlation between the magnetic grid of the Earth and consciousness. And just like Kryon told us over 30 years ago, the magnetic grid is slowly starting to shift. That was his message, actually, when he arrived in 1989. Now, it's not an esoteric thing that's just for channelers and those who believe in spiritual stuff. It's stuff that we can see right on the compass as it moves. Now, if you want proof of this and its movement, just check with the FAA, runway numbers. The numbers painted on all the runways, well, they're compass headings. I don't know if you knew that. And as the magnetic grid has gradually moved in the last decades, those runway numbers had to be repainted. Almost all of them all over the world. The reason, again, because north was moving. The compass was moving. Compass headings moved, and those numbers got repainted. Bottom line, our magnetic grid affects our consciousness, and that grid is moving to allow an easier path for an awakening planet.
I think what I love is in all of those answers, it's good news. There is so much love and help from Spirit coming our way. So the next question I'd like to move to is from Magnus. Magnus is in Sweden, and he's asking, could you invite some astronomer or other scientists to Healing Wednesday to speak about the physics of the shift from an astronomical view? The planet is currently bombarded with sunstorms and cosmic energies that seems to especially affect North America right now. I would like some more nerdness, please.
He asked for more nerdness? I love you. Because you've got the right guy. Well, this is what I want to tell you. I really don't have to consult with an astronomer or even have him on this program. This is a big issue to many of them, and some are already working this puzzle, and you can read it all about it if you wish to. It is on the internet. So we have a lot of comments from astronomers and scientists regarding this very thing. And some of these ideas that they are coming up with are very interesting. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative. But let me set the stage so you'll know a little more about what's going on. Here is something that if you're not an astronomer or you don't pay attention to how things work or the stars, you may not realize. I have to start with some very basic astronomy in order for everyone to understand. Our solar system, that's all our planets and the sun, it's on the move. It always has been, and it's slowly moving around the center of our spiral galaxy. I think you kind of knew that. If you didn't, now you do. That means that we're always moving into new areas of space that we haven't been in before, actually for 230 million years. That's the time it takes for our solar system to go around the galaxy once. How about that? But many are worried because of what they see ahead. It might be packed with dangerous stuff. It's new. Mainly, a different kind of radiation is coming. Got that? This is an important part to this discussion. Again, we are moving into brand new areas of space around our galaxy that humans have never been in before. Now, as early as September in 2013, we started seeing reports of this. Many astronomers were looking at what was coming, and they were startled. New Scientist magazine in 2023 reported this, and this was the title of their article, quote, "The solar system is traveling through much stormier skies than we thought, and might even be about to pop out of the huge gas cloud that we've been gliding through for at least 45,000 years. Now, they go on to say that there's radiation ahead. Something is changing. Again, we're coming out of something we've been in for 45,000 years, and we're hitting something that's brand new, we've never seen before as humans on the planet, and that's the worry. Well, there are all kinds of speculations of what that might mean. But one scientist caught my attention. He's the one I'd like to tell you about. His name is Dieter Brauers, famous German scientist with patents in over 85 countries. He's a biophysicist and was the director of the International Council for Scientific Development, whose members, by the way, include over 100 Nobel Prize winners. I give you all that so you know that he is not unknown. He's not a closet scientist who we found who is, does part-time research in some unknown university. He's very mainstream, and he's still with us at the age of 72. He's a young guy. That's me smiling, young guy. I want to quote you something that he said in an article some years ago when all this was discovered and the fear started. Some were starting to fear this whole thing. It was coming to us in space. So here is his quote. Are you ready to hear this from a mainstream scientist? Quote, "I'm convinced that we are currently in the midst of a process involving the restructuring of our neural networks, and that the catalyst of this process is the high solar geomagnetic activity whose consequences are feared by so many people today. However, all facts and findings add up to the undeniable conclusion that this evolution will, for the first time in human history, enable us human beings to use the enormous potential of our brains. Oh. Are you getting this? Shall we pause and breathe for a moment? Do you see what he's saying? He's talking about the shift that we're in now, which Kryon has told us was coming for 34 years. And it's the reason why we're all here. Kind of nice to hear it from a scientist, don't you think?
I think it's a very beautiful message to come from a scientist and from Kryon. So I think now it's time for a meditation, and then we'll have a channel from Kryon. So I invite you to close your eyes and just absorb the information that came from a few moments ago, where we talk about the earth being here for millions of years, and we talk about the solar system taking millions of years to do one rotation through the galaxy. And let us contemplate us being alive on the planet Earth right now in this moment. And as we contemplate us being here in this moment, think of all the lifetimes we have experienced that lead us to this point, this moment, this time of great awakening and shift. And you are here as part of that shift. It is time for a congratulations, a celebration that you are here, that you are part of this shift. And this shift is all about awakening. Awakening to what? Awakening to the Creator within. And if you have awakened to the Creator within, what is it that you need to do? Could it be as simple as sitting in the chair and receiving the love from the Creator that wants to be found? Indeed, this is all you need to do in this moment. Sit in the chair, be loved, and receive the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. It is common for us to give themes for the month, and this is no exception. One of the most interesting, powerful, and profound energies a human has to deal with is the energy of past lives. Now, there are so many in this culture that I speak in who don't believe in past lives at all. So this isn't really an issue. Not that they have been taught by their spiritual leaders. However, here's something I'll tell you that I have said before. The majority of Earth, based upon polling what they believe in the spiritual systems they are in, believe in the afterlife. More than that, they believe in past lives. It seems to be very consistent, except perhaps in the culture that my partner was born in. It took him a while to see, understand, and believe that this beautiful, complex, and forever soul of yours doesn't just show up one time and leave. It has a purpose on the earth, and it stays here, lifetime after lifetime. Part of your soul energy is what actually then tempers the earth with energy. Gaia and you are partners. There's a reason for your life force to be on the planet, for you to contribute to the crystalline grids and all the others that are there. And when you leave this planet, things take place that we have talked about before, and you return. And when you return, it's a continuation, you might say, of the Akashic school. Now, we've used the word Akash many times. You've also heard it in reference to the Akashic record. So let me explain. When we say Akash, it is the entire system of energy that revolves around this life and past lives, that works within you every time you show up. It's an active energy of past life experience. The Akashic record, the definition of that would be an actual record perhaps that you could look at that sees what you've been through, who you've been on this planet, and what it meant. It's hidden in such a way that it's not actually available instantly to you, although it is becoming more active as this planet shifts. There are those of you who have gifts who can read it for others as well. It helps to explain what's going on now with your life, because all of your past lives, the Akash, the Akashic record, all of them meld together in a confluence of energy that sits on you right now as you sit there listening to this. There are so many things that I would love to tell you about the Akash. So this month, these channels will be about those. The big one, and I'll get right to it. Your immediate past life, the one you were just in before this one, has the largest influence on you right now. Although the energy isn't linear, that is to say, the further back you get, the less it affects you, there is an exception, and that is your immediate past life. What you went through then was a precursor for who you are today. It's almost like your immediate past life and this one meld together in such a way that you could almost continue it. How many of you, now that you have this wonderful tool called the internet, how many of you have been able to see amazing things that shouldn't exist that have to do specifically with the Akash? Here's what I mean. Have you seen children of both genders who are able to play beautiful concertos on the piano and their hands are almost able to reach the notes? This is a prodigy, you would call it, and that is simply a label for what you don't understand. For if you ask any music teacher, they would say, you don't have enough years to practice to do what they're doing. It seems like it's built in, and as soon as they're able to touch the piano and reach the keys, they're playing like a maestro. How? Welcome to the Akash. This is the immediate past lifetime of a profound musician who lived it to such a degree that it's imbued in their DNA, and when they are reborn as the child that you see playing the piano, they are continuing that lifetime in that way. Are you getting this? It's all around you. I wouldn't say it's proof, because you can't put it in a test tube. You can't make then all of these blind tests you're supposed to make to qualify it. But it's there. Have you seen some of the youngsters paint like masters as soon as they could figure out how to mix the paint? It's all around you. Things that shouldn't happen when you're 5 years old or even 3 are happening. And you're watching the continuation of your Akash. Your most immediate past lifetime is probably the most important one that you're sensing. There are so many things I could tell you about this. What happened in that lifetime that might shape who you are? Not simply the talent that you might have had, but I'll tell you this. Many of the worries and the fears and who you were then transfer right over. It's a continuing to worry. What did you die from? Did you die early? What is it you continued that right now you're dealing with that you may not have even thought of where it came from? Why are you struggling to go through things that you say, I should know better? That's really not me. Why do I go here? Why do I do this? Why is this? The why is in the past life, and you can drop it. You can drop all those energies. And you're going to say, okay, what therapist do I go to? Where shall I do? You can do it yourself. You are so powerful. Your consciousness is king and queen of who you are. Did you hear me use two genders? I'll talk about that in a moment. Dear Spirit, you might say, I hereby drop all of the things that would keep me from my magnificence this time around. I choose not to carry any of the negative things that interfere with my magnificence in this life at this time. I don't need them. I'll tell you something. There were systems that happened where you used to need them before this shift, before this awakening. It was called karma. That's why it exists. You carry it through so you can work with it. You don't need that anymore. We have had that discussion on this very program. You don't need that anymore at all. This is a new earth, new energy, new human. And you can drop it. And you can drop it by yourself without help. Now, there are those who are very good at showing you the path to help you do this. And you can consult them if you feel it's difficult. But make no mistake, who's dropping what? It's you who are in charge of your own soul experience while you're on this planet right now. Dear Spirit, I choose to drop all these things that don't work for me. Now, here's a big one. Germane for the times, appropriate for the times. And when I tell you, you'll go, oh. What gender were you last time? What if that's not the gender you are this time? Because you take turns. And it's not always every other lifetime. Many times you're one gender for many lifetimes, and then you switch and you're another gender for other lifetimes. But every single human I am speaking to right now has been both. Is it confusing to you? Some are starting to awaken to this. Who am I? They're saying. There is such an acute memory of both genders that you're sorting it out. People would ask, why is it right now in this culture, especially on this planet, where there are so many gender-specific ideas and questions? This is an awakening planet of consciousness, and you're starting to remember both. You can choose whatever you choose, but it's not a mystery. It's not an issue of unbalance either. You are simply starting to awaken to the full you. You may not like the fact that you've been both genders. You start to interview one gender or the other, and you'll actually deny it. No, I was never the other gender. Because you don't want what you see on the planet. Dear ones, you were. Every male has given birth. Every woman has picked up a sword. I'll tell you, you are magnificently endowed with everything that possibly you could have been. You have to love that. I wanted to give you this lesson on the Akash and the energy therein to help you to understand what you might be feeling. And I'm not talking about genders here. I'm talking about magnificence here, about experience here, about wisdom here, about all these things. But be aware that your last immediate lifetime, wherever you were, whatever you did, whatever took place, is right now in you very powerfully. Are you enjoying it or not? And if you're not, drop the things that don't work and become new. I'm Cryon. So in love with all of you. Magnificent in every way. You are. And so it is.
And following that beautiful message from the Magnetic Master, I invite you to open your eyes and bring your awareness back into your body. And as you start tuning in to the feelings and sensations in your body, we're going to talk to an amazing guest who works with releasing trauma from the body. So it is going to be an absolute treat to hear all the wisdom that Christina Lopes has to share with us. And I want to make sure she's on the Zoom feed with us. Coming all the way from Lisboa in Portugal is Christina. Christina, are you there?
I'm here. I can hear you. I can see you.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And we want to tell everyone about Christina.
We do. And I love it when we have guests who are, you get to tell a story that something happened dramatic in their life because they didn't start this way. Well, Christina Lopes spent a decade working as a neuropediatric clinician before becoming a life coach, spiritual teacher, author, and entrepreneur. In 2013, a magic year, I think, for her, she experienced a profound spiritual awakening. I want to hear all about that in a moment, followed by 4 years of solitude and deep meditation training. In those years, Christina experienced her spiritual awakening with science eyes, we'll call it, and it opened her severely blocked heart. That's what she does today for us, and healed her significant childhood trauma.
Now, Christina has been a life coach, spiritual teacher since 2014, and she works with hundreds of clients from all over the world, especially through her immersive premium coaching program. And I love the title of this program. It's called Heart Alchemy. I mean, just those words for me, they evoke this kind of magical feeling of the magic that we have in our heart and being the alchemy to open up that heart even further. Christina also offers intensive individual retreats, and that's called the Heart Accelerator. I just love the titles of what she offers. So today she is seamlessly bridging science and spirituality to help others heal from significant trauma, to open their hearts, and as a result, live a fulfilling life. So Christina holds a doctorate degree in physical therapy from New York University and a master's degree in public health from Johns Hopkins University. So she truly is bridging science and spirituality. Christina, welcome to the program, and tell us about... Yes!
Yeah.
So tell us about this mystical experience in 2013 that started all of this.
Yeah. So I think it was an experience that probably so many people go through, which was just the falling apart of my marriage. So I was living a pretty standard life, by all means. I had married, bought a house, was living the American dream. I was in the U.S. at the time. I have dual citizenship. I was raised in Portugal, but I was born in the U.S. and I went to college in the U.S. and I stayed in the U.S. many years after university. And so 2013, it was, I think what triggered the spiritual awakening was the suddenness of it. My marriage just fell apart very quickly without a lot of warning. And I think I've worked with so many clients where the triggers are the same. It's when the rug of life is pulled from underneath you really quickly and your ego's trying to grasp for an understanding of what just happened to you. And I think it's in those moments sometimes where the soul can just break through. And that's what happened to me. And it kind of just started this multi-year spiritual awakening. where I went from, being a clinician. I was a physical therapist. I worked with children with disabilities, with babies, so I had this science background, this clinical background, but I had also, like, I wasn't an atheist. I wasn't completely closed off from my spirituality. I had been born into a family with multiple women that had spiritual gifts, including my grandmother. Um, but I had a really traumatizing childhood. I had a lot of visitations when I was a child. And so it was very traumatizing. So I tried very hard to close the spiritual door. And I just went about living my life regularly without a lot of access to spirituality until my awakening in 2013. And then when my life fell apart, I think I just came to this realization where I thought, wait a minute, clearly my mind has taken me on a path that, although it was blessed while it lasted, it wasn't my highest path. It wasn't my soul path. And maybe it's time for me to go back in time and kind of open the door to something that I know I was born with, and I need to re-explore, re-examine, and kind of open that door. And so that's pretty much how it all started in 2013. I remember it was a really painful time in my life because my marriage was falling apart. This was right before you talked about my degrees. This happened when I was finishing a very intensive master's degree at the number one public health program in the world, Johns Hopkins, and I was literally starting to write my master's thesis when my marriage fell apart. So I have no idea how I even completed that master's, because it was just under so much stress. And in the middle of trying to use my left brain to complete a master's thesis at the same time that I was having these wild spiritual phenomenon happening to me at home. So it was really hard to navigate those first months of 2013 when I first had that awakening.
I love this is a very, very common story with so many who've awakened.
It's pretty much my story,
Our
girlfriend.
story too. But the
for
thing,
a lot of people, yes.
the thing that is different here is that for 4 years you just left. What happened?
I did.
Yeah.
So I think a lot when I opened the door to spirituality, and this happened, I was raised Catholic, so I have a very strong affiliation with Yeshua, with Jesus as a teacher, not from a religious perspective, but from a spiritual perspective. And so when I had my spiritual awakening and my life was completely upside down and I was starting to experience all these spiritual phenomena, I actually opened the door to that. And one of the first masters that I called upon to help me was Jesus. And I remember I was laying in my bed, I was just staring at the ceiling. And I said to Yeshua, I have no idea how to do this. I have no idea how to pursue spirituality, what my guides, what my soul wants of me, but I'm willing to learn. Please help me. And that was the first astral projection that I had. I literally popped out of my body and I communed with Yeshua as a spiritual energy and as an entity, as a master. And so that started me, that activated what I like to call my shamanic path. I have a very strong shaman energy. And so it's very common with shamans, although I have never had any official shamanic training, it's very common for shamans in their apprenticeships to send students literally into the middle of the jungle, and the shaman apprentice will stay in the middle of the jungle for years, sometimes by themselves, fending for themselves, because that's the way that they kind of confront their inner demons, that they really come in touch with their hearts, with their gifts, and they have to do it alone. And that very much is what I did. There was something activated in me where I knew I needed to be alone. I knew that I had a, kind of the wounded healer path, that shaman path, where I had to figure out what was going on inside of me, and I had to do it alone. And that's where I spent the next 4 years alone. I moved to various places, but they all had the same kind of energy. I was either in a forest by myself or I was by a beach by myself. I was very much surrounded by nature, alone. I would spend weeks and weeks without even talking to another human being. And I did this purposely. I was guided to do this. So this is what I like to call the shaman, my shaman path, was those 4 years. And then at the end of those 4 years, my guide started to say to me very strongly, your time being alone is over. You need to go back to society, because your path is actually, my guides call it, living in the trenches of life with other people. So I probably did this in past lives. I have access to some of my past lives, and I know that I was either a shaman or a healer in past lives where I was just alone, kind of how shamans historically are at the edge of the village. They live by themselves and they're only called upon when they're needed. And I know that was my path for many lifetimes. But in this lifetime, my guide said, no, this time you're here to be in the trenches of life with other people, meaning that you have to go back to regular life and you have to teach from that perspective, because not everybody can wake up and go into a forest for 4 years. There are a lot of people awakening on the planet, and they need help, and they need help to process their awakening as they're going through regular everyday lives. People that have children, people that have jobs, people that can't just leave everything behind. And that's who you're supposed to help. And so after 4 years, I came back to civilization.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And now I'd like to hear from you how you approach healing trauma in your work, because it has to be something that you were guided to do with both your background, with your degrees and all the work you did as a clinician with working with neuropediatrics, as well as your shamanic Akashic awakening. So how do you do that?
So at first, it's interesting, we evolve in a pendulum, right? So when I first awoke, I decided I'm leaving. And I walked out of the door of my house when my marriage fell apart. I took some suitcases with me and I left everything to my ex. I left house, I left car, I left everything. I literally walked out of my life. And I moved to Portugal. And at first, in those first years, maybe first couple of years, I would say, I said, no more clinical life for me. Now I've opened the door to spirituality, and this is me. And I went, what I like to call lovingly, as I went into my woo-woo phase. So I went all out. I was channeling my guides. I was doing, past auto regressions. I was going into past life experiences. I was doing a lot of this work. But then slowly, my guide started to say to me, it's not a coincidence that you have these degrees, and it's not a coincidence that you have this background, and this is going to be useful, and you're going to retrieve these skills again. And initially, I didn't really understand that. But today, I know exactly what my soul was preparing me for, and it's for this very deep, embodied healing work. Because I think that it's still something that's missing in a lot of spirituality circles, is the idea that when we go through a spiritual awakening, there's a lot of trauma to be healed. A lot of us that are here on the planet right now that are going through these intense awakenings, we're doing that. We're light workers, so we're doing that because we're also to be of service to the planet. And so a lot of times we incarnate in a lot of problematic family situations so that we experience that trauma, transmute it, and then we're able to help others transmute their trauma simply through the force of our own example. And so that's what happened to me. I started to heal trauma more from a spiritual perspective, understanding how trauma affected me energetically at the level of my energy system, at the level of my chakras, at the level of my past lives that I carried, the karma that I carried from past lives. But then it was time to bring in the clinical aspect, which is a fundamental understanding that trauma isn't just carried over energetically, that trauma is embodied in every cell of your body. And I knew this already from a physical therapy perspective. I'd have clients come in and they'd have a pain in their knee. And I was a physical therapist. So, okay, at the time, let's work on your knee because it's the knee that's the problem. It's not the knee that's the problem. All of the physical representations of our diseases, of the things that happen to us, they have an energy underlying. And so many people, I look back on my career now and I think, I wonder how many patients I worked with at the time where they came to me with, a back pain or a leg pain, and I was treating just the symptom, and I had no idea that that wasn't the cause of their pain. And now I understand that from a different perspective. So now what we do in our work is we're working with trauma on an energy level, but we're also helping people process that trauma through their bodies. And one of the things that I've been tapping into more and more lately is that trauma embodied trauma is one of the biggest obstacles to deep spiritual transformation. And I've been repeating that a lot in my community and on Instagram. I like to talk to my audience a lot. And that's one of the things that's been coming through very clearly lately, that trauma and trauma responses can be one of the biggest obstacles to deep spiritual transformation. And the reason that that's true is if I have embodied trauma, and I'm having a spiritual awakening. When I am having a spiritual awakening, I mean, everything gets busted open. My ego shatters. My sense of self shatters. And to an internal system that's traumatized, the moment these major changes start occurring, my ego, my brain, my amygdala, all of the parts of my brain that have trauma and that have existed through trauma responses, those alarms are going to fire. And your amygdala is going to start saying, danger, danger, something's wrong, we need help, everything's falling apart. And then your body goes into these trauma responses. And guess what happens when your body goes into a trauma response? Your ego will block the deepening of that spiritual awakening. And that's what we do today. We work with clients on being able to calm the trauma responses, to bring themselves into a relaxed state. And then from that relaxed state, then they can go deeper into healing. Then they can go deeper into the spiritual processes that are happening on all levels.
I feel that so many people are going to hear this and say, I want to know more. I have these symptoms. I'd love to know how to get rid of them. So talk us through some of the cases that you have worked with where someone has come to you and you've been able to identify the trauma, and then talk us through how you managed to help that person release.
Yeah. So just a simple example that's coming to mind right now. I worked with so many clients, and I don't work with clients individually anymore. I work through, my community, and also we have group retreats where we work with people. So I'm not working one-on-one with people anymore, but I'm a physical empath. So I can sense the somaticized energy in someone and where it's coming from. So a common example of something that would happen would be that I've worked with a lot of clients on heart blocks. So many people have heartbreak. Their hearts are blocked. So they're blocked to vulnerability, they're blocked to connection, they're blocked to deep love. And it's because of some trauma that they've had. Maybe they've had heartbreak, maybe they've had a relationship, go horribly wrong, and then they close, they shut down. And I can see that physically. So as soon as a person, just comes into my physical space, or I'm talking to a person on a Zoom call, for instance, I know right away that they have heartbreak. I start to somaticize their symptoms onto myself. So I start to feel difficulties breathing. My heart starts pounding. And so I know right away, okay, this person has a significantly blocked heart chakra. Okay, so some people in spiritual circles would say, all right, let's clear that chakra, let's clear that heart chakra, and your problems will be solved. That's not true, because maybe that person has already somaticized that heartbreak into their physical body. And one way I can see that, and I'm sure you've come into contact with people like this, whereas when someone's severely heartbroken, they walk around hunched over. I don't know if you've all experienced this, but they contract their body, they close their heart, and they walk hunched over. They look down at the ground. They're very guarded around their chest. So one of the things that we would then do somatic work, where a person would then actually do physical exercises to open their heart. So I'd have them roll on a ball where they're just literally opening their hearts up. They're physically working on the area that corresponds to the chakra that's blocked. And this is just a simple example of how you do deep trauma healing through the energy systems, through the aura, through the chakras that are blocked, but then also through the body, so that healing is multi-level across all systems in the body.
I love that heart open. I mean, you can't not feel your heart expand and open from just putting your hand out. What other kind of body techniques have you used for other types of trauma? I'm fascinated by it.
So one of the things that we work on a lot in our work when we're working, because we tend to specialize, and I say we because it's never just me. I work with an amazing group of people, an amazing group of coaches. And we work with people, we tend to attract people, and people that have severe trauma resonate with our work. So, and it's because, I had to heal severe childhood trauma. Our coaches did. So we're kind of walking the walk. And so we tend to work with people who come from very severe trauma and have had severe trauma in their lives. So what we like to work with, we love to say that the vagus nerve is our friend. So the vagus nerve is one of the largest nerves in the body. It's one of the nerves that's responsible for the activation of what's known as the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the nervous system of relaxation. And I love to call the parasympathetic nervous system also the nervous system of spiritual healing. And so we love to activate that nerve to relax the body. One simple thing that I love doing is this mimics nature. So if you've ever noticed animals, if you watch animal shows and you see, like a lion hunt sets out and there's a group of impalas and they all run. And then when the danger is over, an animal you'll see this across all species, they will shake. And they're shaking to calm the system. The system has now been in a fight or flight response, but now the danger is over. And now what do? They shake to calm the system down and bring it back into a place of homeostasis. And we use vibration a lot. We use shaking a lot. So when I'm working in retreats, for instance, or even online, I teach people to first thing in the morning, they step out of bed, they go to the bathroom, maybe have a glass of water, and then they put some drumming music on, and they will just stand there and they will shake their body from head to toe. And they will shake. Sometimes I tell them shake the whole track. So 3 minutes, 4 minutes. The longer that you shake your body and you're relaxing your body, so it's like you're almost in a ragdoll position. Your whole body is shaking. There's nothing tight. So I tell people, do a scan. Are your shoulders tight? Because some people will shake with their lower body and then their shoulders are like this. No, that's not it. Relax your shoulders and shake with your whole body from head to toe. And do that for at least 2 or 3 minutes. And what you'll notice is as you get deeper into the shaking, your breathing will entrain with the shaking. You'll start listening deeply to that drumming music. Shamanic drumming is incredibly healing. It connects you to your heartbeat. And so when you pair all these things together, you start your morning off with your vagus nerve activated. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the nervous system of relaxation, is now activated. And so you start your day in a totally different way. And this is kind of earth-shattering for people who've gone through trauma, because a lot of times the morning is one of the most difficult phases for people that are traumatized, because that unconscious mind will be very active in those first hours of waking up. And so people will wake up, they're worried about life. When is the next shoe going to fall? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? And so they wake up already in this sympathetic stress activation. So when they add this simple shaking practice, they're starting their day off in a different way. And this is just another example of what we use.
Monica loved the term heart alchemy. We've used it in some of our work too. We just love the word. I happen to know that your heart alchemy involves a community. So it's not just one-on-one. You want to talk about that?
No. Yeah, so that's actually something new. So we just opened up Heart Alchemy. I used to do Heart Alchemy as an 8-week course, and we would do it 8 weeks, and then we'd close the door, and then we'd say, bye, guys, we'll be back next year. And we started to get so many emails from people saying it can't just be 8 weeks, because we would have 8 weeks of a coaching call with me every Saturday, and then they'd have video modules. There was a lot going on. But the 8 weeks, people would say, it's not enough. We need more time. We need more coaching calls. We need a bigger sense of community. And so we're constantly listening to our clients and constantly listening to our audience. So we've been working really hard to turn Heart Alchemy into a year-round community. And that's what we just launched last month. So the enrollment doors are closing this Saturday. We're recording now, but the official enrollment doors are closing on September 17th. And so we're just opening this up to a big community, to a year-round experience where people feel supported every day, regardless of, how long it takes them to get through the video modules or to embody the changes that they're going through, the deep spiritual changes, and they feel supported along the way. And they also feel a sense of community, because I think that's absolutely crucial. And I know you all have a community also. It's absolutely crucial right now in these changing energies, with all of this energy of chaos around the world, spiritual people, spiritually awakened people really need to connect together so that they can kind of weather this temporary chaotic storm that we're going through with all of this upheaval energy on the planet. Connection is extraordinarily important. And so that's what we're doing.
We have a big YouTube audience that is watching now, as well as the membership, because this is one of our free programs. So I know they're going to relate to that. This is all part of a worldwide community that we're starting to see shape up, I think.
Yeah. So for people that want to take part of that Heart Alchemy, does that mean they have to wait until next year for?
Oh no, we open quarterly, and for your audience, we're maintaining the door open. So there's a specific link for the audience that's watching this today. Beautiful. As a thank you.
Beautiful.
And so that'll be open, but we open quarterly. So the next door would be for people who are not watching this. We close the doors, and we'll open in January again. And receive a new batch, a new group of people. And we like working that way, because then, with each group that comes in, they also feel like they're connected because they're on the same page, they're on the same modules, and so they don't feel as dispersed. So we like to work in this way, welcoming people in groups. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. And so, what are some of the more common symptoms you mentioned when people awaken? What are some of the people want to describe them as ascension symptoms. So what are the more common ones that you have come across?
A lot of physical symptoms. Especially with people that have severe trauma. So the more severe your trauma embodied, the more you can think of your body being locked up. Like I view embodied trauma like these really intense, tight-knit black balls of energy. That's how I see it. And so it's this energy, this locked up energy, is embedded in your shoulder or in your chest or in your legs, depending on where the person has the trauma. When you have a spiritual awakening, your energy is going to open up. And one of the things, the way that I like to explain to people is, you have about 40 trillion cells. There's sentient cells in your body. And when you have an awakening, your cells vomit out everything that's old. But then once they release all that old energy, now you have a cell that's open to receive, because there's never a vacuum in nature. And so now the cell has released all this crapola, and now it's ready to receive, and that's where the new light codes come in, and the cell is now filled with light. And there are 40 trillion cells. So imagine the physical symptoms that can come from just this purging, followed by, the absorption of new light codes. It causes tremendous amount of physical symptoms, including some people that can be temporarily diagnosed with diseases, with physical diseases. And then they clear up once they continue doing their healing work. For other people, there's also a lot of mental symptoms. And this happened to me. I had a Kundalini awakening at the same time that I had a spiritual awakening. And it was, it was very difficult for me. Like, I had a really strong scientific mind. And there were times where I would just be sitting on my meditation mat, and I'd be thinking, oh yeah, great, now I'm channeling Jesus. Next up will just be might as well just go to a psych ward, because you are going positively insane. And I remember thinking that. So it was really hard for my scientific brain to now understand what channeling is. How am I connecting to spirit guides? What is this? Are you crazy, Christina? And so a lot of people feel that. A lot of people feel that as they are breaking the paradigms of what consciousness means, and they are tapping into altered states of consciousness. Still, in mainstream science, altered states of consciousness can be considered insanity or psychosis. And so that's very difficult for people to navigate. Also are the mental symptoms or the psychological symptoms that come sometimes with spiritual awakening. And this is why community is so important. I've worked with so many clients that some of them have even gone into psych wards. They've admitted themselves to psych wards because they thought they were schizophrenic or they thought they were mentally ill. And it was because they had no one around them to say to them, hey, I don't think you're psychotic. I think you're having a spiritual awakening. Here's a group. Go hang out with these people, because they'll know what you're talking about.
Because they're all a little crazy. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
No, I think we all need to have that little bit of craziness, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would love to keep talking with you for the entire rest of the week, evening. Everything you've shared is profound, but we are coming to the end of our allocated time for this beautiful conversation. I want to let people know your website, Christina-Lopes.com. You'll see that in the chat. You'll also see that down if you scroll below the video replay. You'll see that link there. Just fabulous stuff. I just shake drumming to shamanic music. That in itself is amazing. Yeah. So are there any final words that you want to share with us before we go to a break?
No, just to thank you all for your work. I love Cryon, and it's amazing, and it's so wonderful to just see so many of us doing this work of just helping each other. Like I tell my audience that the age of gurus is over, and we're each tapping into our own innate understanding and our own innate power. And there's so many of us facilitating that change, and I congratulate you, and I love your work, and let's keep going. And everybody watching this, or listening to this podcast, you're doing a great job, and just seek community and seek connection, and we're going to make it through this.
Let's keep going. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to chat with you all today.
Wow, well, we are going to take a 10-minute break, and I think don't wait till tomorrow morning. Take your 10 minutes, get some shamanic drumming music, and shake yourself silly, and we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12. Well, welcome back from the break, everyone. I hope everyone was doing their shake.
Yeah.
Shake. Didn't you love Christina?
I always, I love our guest, but, she was great.
So
it's not
much.
Just, we always say that. We really did. I really enjoyed what she had to say. And wow, science to spirituality, that is exactly what we teach.
I love her as a soul sister, because a lot of what she was sharing was kind of my story as well. And I think we can identify when we hear someone's story, there's always aspects of someone's story that connects with us.
It does to me. Her awakening, I can always remember mine. And the reason I asked her what I did is because she went away for 4 years.
I know.
I think I went to lunch. I mean, there's
a true shaman.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, you know what? It's time for Miracle Moments. Yes. So it's about celebrating miracles. If you've never joined us before and are wondering what Miracle Moments are about, it's where we connect and send love and compassion to those who are asking for a miracle. And I want you to know the energy of compassion and prayer for others is powerful. I've experienced it personally.
Group prayer works, and so does talking to your smart body, called the innate. I'd like to ask Monica to share a miracle moment which happened to one of our Circle of 12 members.
I would love to. And this miracle moment, it was in the membership portal. It came from Janet. And Janet says, I recently returned home and climbed the flight of stairs to my apartment. When I got to the top, I was gasping for breath. The next day it was the same, and I have not experienced those symptoms before this. I drove myself to the emergency room. There, I had many interactions with staff and many tests which showed I had blood clots in my lungs. The recommended treatment was blood thinner medication, and the miraculous side of this was that through 24 hours of experience in the emergency room and the hospital, I felt as if I was on a conveyor belt moving along in profound safety. The phrase, "you are in safe hands," comes to mind. The safety included the care of the staff, the conditions in my body, and assurance of a healthy outcome. It is also including the certainty that every doctor's, nurses, and kitchen helps' hands were literally extensions of Spirit's hands. When alone in my room, tears streamed down my cheeks because I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that all of this was a good and needed development and that I was safe. They were tears of wonder and joy, and since then I've experienced unusual changes, the disappearance of food cravings, an interest in Dante's Divine Comedy and the Italian language. What next? I think what next, Janet, is that you already are a beacon of light and hope to others around you. Thank you for sharing your miracle moment with us. So beautiful, so precious, and I love the idea of a conveyor belt of safety. So I'd like to invite everyone now to join me in a group prayer where we send love and energy and prayers of benevolence to those asking for it. And so I invite you to close your eyes and concentrate on that feeling of safety, that feeling of togetherness, that connection we are sharing in this moment where we come together with a specific purpose of group prayer. And in this group prayer of togetherness and focusing on the heart area, the heart sending out love, let us send out a feeling of safety, a feeling of love, a feeling of companionship, a feeling of compassion, a feeling of benevolence, so that from our group there is an energy we create and generate, one of love and safety. And this energy of love and safety, we visualize, sense, feel, imagine this energy of love and safety being transmitted to all of those who are requesting our prayers of help. It could be physical. It could be emotional. It could be on behalf of someone else they are asking. It could be in relation to one of their animal companions. Whatever that request is, we send this energy of love and safety, knowing that all is well. There is a safe place to rest and relax and receive that which has been requested. And as we keep focusing on this energy of love and safety, let us extend that beyond those who have asked for our prayers of help to include our brothers and sisters on the planet in this moment, some of whom are not feeling they are in a safe place. And so let us be that specific intent that in this moment we send love and a feeling that there is a safe place that they can access. There is the love of Spirit and the safety in the arms of God that they can relax and receive. And so from this place of love, this place of safety, let us now move to Kryon and the Circle of 12.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon. Come a little closer. Sustain that feeling, those ideas that were just given to you. For that is the purpose of the Circle of 12. Can you feel the safety of your own soul's energy, which is eternal, beautiful, magnificent, and safe? Can you feel that or not? How many of you right now are worried about something? You're not in a safe place, perhaps, or it may be safe, but you're still worried about something in your culture. So often it's personal, relationships, money, or actual danger. Dear ones, you were not designed to be in fear all the time. That'll shorten your life. And yet there's so many of you who awaken in that way. There are so many today who are awakening to processes that will take you out of those trauma areas. And I'm not even talking about those from another lifetime. I'm talking about the things that are happening to you right now, that take joy away from you, that make you wring your hands and ask what's next. There is a beautiful place within your own soul, within your own consciousness, where you can sit and everything is well. The beautiful soul who reported on the miracle moments had that experience. She goes into the hospital and discovers something major, a lung clot, a blood clot in the lungs. That is not something that is a minor thing. And she was comfortable with the outcome before she got the outcome. This is what we speak of. To be able to call upon your sweet, safe spot anytime is where we want to go with this teaching, always. And there are many interruptions, you might say, in the ability to do that. And so many of them are those who tell you you can't, or tell you you shouldn't, or give you a Band-Aid of some way, something you're supposed to do to cover it up. And you and I know it's still there. How do you feel in the morning? Is it still there? The circle of 12 was designed for you to cross a bridge, purposely going from one place to another, so that that other place, you don't carry any of this with you. Can you do that sitting where you are? And the answer is yes. You may have participated in the green mist. And that is where we gave you another concept. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit and transport yourself to the most beautiful, safe, gorgeous places. And meet those who can heal that which you need healing. Right now, we are about to go across that bridge yet again. In this, the first week of the month. Come with me, take my hand. We walk slowly across this bridge that is not one that is even defined as its size or width or length or anything. It could be a strand, a golden strand that you're balancing on beautifully. It simply is a way to get from the known to the unknown. And you go through a mist, you might say, that obfuscates like a fog what's coming, and then it clears, and what you see is up to you. For it's the safe zone that you're going to, that soul of yours that belongs to you, that is sacred, beautiful, from God, that you always can go to, and you were part of before earth was even created. That's the safe zone. And that is where we've invited you over and over to go to various rooms and places in order to meet those who might be able to facilitate something special, healing. And tonight is no different. We're going to set the stage, and it's going to seem like we've done it before, but this time a little different. You don't go into a theater. I want you to go through that door we always go through with your name on the top of it you cannot read yet. A name in light, you might say. In light language, you might say. And you go to a beautiful area that can be whatever you want it to be. Perhaps it's the beauty of Gaia. Maybe it's on a beach. Maybe it's just in the grass with the trees. Maybe it's simply you sitting in a chair in space, watching the beauty of what unfolds there, and you're totally safe. But what comes to you now, we'll call the Akashic Angel. We've done this before, dear ones. Based upon the channel that I gave you today, we are continuing that theme. And here it is, and we've done it before. What is it that is in the way of you enjoying life right now? What's in the way of you awakening with gratitude? What is in the way? And some of you will say, well, if only I had this amount of money or this job or this relationship. That's not what I'm speaking of. That's very 3D, dear ones. I'm asking, what is it that gets in the way of your joy no matter what? That's a big one. And quite often, it's bad habits. If you were told the earth is broken, and you believed it all your life, and you complained about it, and those around you complain about it, and you get together with groups that complain, we'll call them complain groups. You get on the phone with others and complain. No wonder you wake up and wonder where there's gratitude and what there can be. The habit that you've established is everything is broken. So therefore your life is broken. Maybe you're broken, you think. Dear ones, that is the great lie. The great lie that is told to you by your duality, and the opposite is true. What is it that enhances that? Could it have come from the habits of a past life where you did the same thing? Did you ever think of that? Did you ever think you came in with it and you continued it and you chose parents who enhanced it and friends who cooperated with it, and now you're sitting there? Big sign, hang around your neck, the great complainer. That may not be correct, but it's an example of what can be. Habit. What if your habit could change around to the magnificent one, or perhaps the one who goes beyond, transcends the issues of the day? You wake up with gratitude regardless. Dear ones, there are things that may have happened in the past, in other lifetimes, that are etched in your DNA right now that we would like to remove. The Akashic Angel is here for that removal with hands outstretched, for you to take them. This is an invitation to touch the angel, hold the hand, look into the eyes of the angel if you wish to, either seated or standing. And it's a ceremony. Maybe it's time to take another vow. Now we're going to get to that as well, dear ones, in the channelings and in Circle of 12 this very month. How about a new vow? And you look into that which is the angel's eyes, which represents that which is the creation of your soul, and everything in your body, including your chemistry, your DNA, your consciousness, it's all wrapped up in your divinity. And you make a divine vow. Dear Spirit, I make this vow for all that is me in this lifetime, my chemistry, my consciousness, my body, my future, and my past. Here is my vow. I promise to drop the things that don't enhance my magnificence. I vow to find the light that is there before me. I vow to start seeing and changing the habits that don't serve me. I vow to become the human I was born to be. How about that? That vow will stick, dear ones. It will. For it's you talking to the core you, saying, I recognize my habits, I don't like them, I don't like what I see in me, and I'm going to change it. And it doesn't have to be overnight. It can take weeks or months, gradually, if you think this is difficult for you. There's no one judging how quick you're going to do this. But oh, is it doable? Can you imagine awakening with life's problems and smiling and having gratitude for being there in the shift? And knowing absolutely, like the dear one in the hospital, going through whatever she was going through and the tests of the doctors, that they were all loving hands from Spirit. And that in the end, all would be well. And it was. And it can be. Design the future by being grateful for the present, dear ones. Did you get that? How many of you are ready to design that future? Stay with this angel and feel the removal of what isn't suiting you. From the Akashic record, from anything in your body, this is the angel that will serve you at this moment. Wants to hold your hand, speak to you, sing to you perhaps. Can you feel this? It's safe. It's beautiful. It's the real you which is starting to emerge. The flower starts to blossom of love and joy and kindness in your life. I am in love with you. Always have been. I know you. I really do. Why don't you stay and enjoy this moment of being loved by God? And so it is.